Hello, everybody. As you join, feel free to pop any questions you have in the Q&A. We will be doing that tonight, and we will be getting started here in about 3 minutes, but just want to say thanks for joining us tonight. I'm excited. We got a couple of new things that have popped up here for 2025. And again, we'll get started here in just a minute, and it looks like my presentation's frozen there. Anyhow, we'll get all this sorted out. We'll get all the bugs out of the works here in 2025. And again, we'll get started here in just a few minutes. All right, we'll get started here in just a few minutes, and actually about 1 minute. But I know we have a lot of people that join on, right at 4:15. Everybody's creature of habit, so everybody likes doing that. But we will get started here just about 1 minute. And my little countdown timer here seems to not like me today. But 1 minute. All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to tonight's workshop. We will be covering retirement, obviously. There's been quite a few changes here in 2025, so I want to point those out as we go. Welcome to 2025. For those of you watching this, just think of this as 1 year closer to retirement, or actually 6 months closer to retirement. All right, so tonight, what are we going to cover? We are going to, first off, get to the next slide. I always like pointing this out. One of the questions that I ask everybody is how many people are in the pension plan versus the investment plan? And tonight, there's about 45% pension, 55% on the investment plan. And that's important because when we start talking about investment plan, you are taking a little bit more risk. Now, you are getting paid a little bit more money on your retirement plan, and I'll show you that here in a second. But suffice it to say, you are taking more risk because unless the state of Florida goes bankrupt, if you're in the pension plan, your pension's pretty much set for life, right? But if you're on the investment plan, the money you get, you need to invest for your lifetime. So it's extremely important, and you need to educate yourself a little more if you're on the investment plan, only because there's a lot more risk. All right. A couple disclosures. One is first off, my name's Terry Martine. I've been doing this for a little over 2 decades. So I've been working with members of the Florida retirement system, firefighters, police officers, tonight's on educators. But suffice it to say, I've seen and heard a lot throughout the years. And the retirement plan hasn't changed all that much. There have been some minor changes, but there have been a few changes along the years. So again, we'll talk a little about lifetime income. And the main thing, again, that we'll come back to is that you really need, and the number one concern of most retirees is running out of money, right? Again, if you're on the pension plan, you got Social Security, that's going to get you to about 70%-ish of what you need to retire on. Hopefully, your 403Bs, your tax sheltered, your 457s, those kind of things that you've been putting money in over time will help offset the other 20% or so that you need to work on. And so I always love showing this slide because it's always interesting. You probably saw this slide. Unless you've been in another one of my presentations, you probably never saw this slide. But if you go on the FRS's website, you can see here everybody in FRS, no matter if you're a judge or you're a teacher, or you could be working in a cafeteria, non-instructional, 3% of your paycheck goes into your pension. Now, for most of you that are on this call, they're educators, you've got one or two plans. Again, you get the investment plan, which is interesting because the investment plan, you get 8.3% of your pay. In addition, if you get paid $100,000 a year, you get 8,300 added to, and I'm not saying you're getting paid 100,000. Don't worry. I know how much you guys get paid, but you get 8.3 added to your investment plan over the years. And if you are on the, sorry. And if on your pension plan, you get 13.5. So that's a difference of about 5%-ish. So if you are on the investment plan, you are not getting as much added to your pension as people that are in the non-pension plan. All right. So here's a little diagram. I like showing this because as you can see, the theme for this presentation at the beginning is really making sure that you understand a couple of wrong steps or missteps if you're in the investment plan can end up where you run out of money. So this just shows you got two different scenarios here. Both earn 6%. But if you have bad years, the first couple of years out of retirement, think of your friends and family that retired in 2007, 8, 9. They had a couple of bad years there right in a row. It could, in theory, really take its toll on your investments. And we'll talk a little bit about maximizing your income. So here's a situation where you need to figure out or talk to an advisor and figure out the best way to invest your money when you do retire. We run this through a simulator. This happens to be just illustrative, but you can see here that out of 1,000 different trials, this particular illustration shows that only 9% probability of success. That's if you go and you retire when you've got bad years. Because even once you retire, it really doesn't matter if it's a good year or a bad year. You still need money to live on. So you still need to make your mortgage if you're mortgaged. You still need to eat or pay your insurance. You still need money to live on when you retire, whether the market's good or bad. You just have to make sure that you're not taking too much risk when you first retire. And some of the investment options, you can get two of the three, but you can never get three of the three. You can get growth and liquidity. Think of that as like stocks. You can invest in stocks. You can do protected and liquid. Think of that like CDs. CDs are liquid. You may not get the interest off a CD, but they are liquid. You can give them back to the bank. They'll give you your money back. And protected and growth. Think of that as some of the structured products, some of the things that are offered through 403(b)s. Some of the annuities are considered protected in growth. They'll grow with the market, and if the market were to collapse, depending on what annuity you have, it could be 1 or 2 years, but it always has a floor on it. So even if the market were to crash 50%, your money would still be protected in the annuities. Again, you can get two of the three, but you simply can't get three. All right. And some of the investment funds, this is if you are on the investment plan. As you can see here, you get target date retirement, 2020 on out to 2065. And so what does that do? The longer that you project out in your retirement, the more risk that you have for that fund. So the 2065 has got more risk, more stocks in it than the 2020 fund, but all of them do have a certain amount of risk, but you just need to pick the one that's appropriate for you. So here's what you can do is if you take a hybrid approach and you put a little bit of your money in a lot of different baskets, whenever you talk investments or talk to one of us um, that work with retiring folks in the FRS, you've got about 7 different types of investments that you can use. And really, what you want somebody to do for you is to say, okay, if the market goes down when I retire, if the market goes up, how much can I take out of my investments to make sure that I am at least 90%? You really need to be 90% guaranteed that you won't run out of money in retirement, because the alternative is not that good. A lot of clients want to go live with their kids because they want to. It's totally different if you're out of money and you have to go live with them because you need to sell your house. All right. So you want to make sure for all of you that were in the workshop, your time horizon was generally this year on out to about 5, 6 years that you're going to be working for the district or districts. So you really need to be careful these next couple of years and make sure that you are saving, try to save. And the other important thing I'll say too is make sure you try to pay off any debt. Not necessarily your house, although some people could argue that's probably a good way to use your money. If you are locked in at one of these interest rates that are 2, 3%, typically stock market or investments are going to get you 7%-ish ballpark. So you really want to keep that kind of on the books. But hey, look, my father, he retired and he was dead set on taking whatever money he had in the bank and whatever money he had 403(b)s, 401(k)s, because he worked private, but he just paid off his house. He's like, I can't stand having any debt when I retire. Boom, he paid it off. So anyhow, depends on your mindset. If you've got the money, you can pay it off. If it gives you peace of mind, feel free. But I will say that typically, if you have those low interest loans that you were able to get 2 years to 10 years ago, that were in the twos to threes, I would suggest you kind of hold on to those and just continue to make payments without having talked to you individually. So, yeah, just general rule of thumb. Sources of some of the income you're going to get when you retire. Social Security is a big one. All right. We talked a little bit about that when we first started. Social Security is probably, 50 to 80% of what you're going to get paid when you retire, which is great because that is going to set you up for the rest of your life. Now, I know some people retire before they're age 62, and you got to fill that gap because you can't start Social Security until you're age 62. And if you're going to be working part-time, you really can't start it until you're 67. Because if you're going to work part-time, I'm assuming you're going to make over $22,000 a year, which is kind of the threshold. If you're interested in learning more about Social Security and how to set all that stuff up for yourself, let me know. I've got Social Security software that tells you when the best year is for you to retire. But by and large, Social Security is really your safety net. Safety net number two, for those of you who took the pension plan, That again is going to get you, if you've got 20 to 30 years time and service for the district, that's going to get you another 20%. So if you add the two together, you're at about 70%, 75% of what you were getting paid through the district or through FRS. So that's great. And, you get 75% of what you're making. And if you talk to your friends, you'll realize that that pension is a big lifesaver. Now, again, if you're on the investment plan, which the majority of folks on this call tonight were, you've got to set your pension plan up, your own pension plan up, because whatever money you're getting through the investment plan, whether it's $200,000 or $500,000, you need to make sure that that's going to last you to lifetime. And there's a couple of tools you can use to ensure that, or take a lot of the risk out of the market. Um, and certainly we're more than happy to talk to you about that. All right. So personal savings and investments, this is your 403Bs, 457s, 451s, the tax sheltered part of your savings. For those of you who have a lot of sick time, this could also include your Bencore accounts, or if you got a lot of vacation time, they'll roll that as a 401A into a retirement account for you. I did work for Bencore, so I know the ins and outs of that pretty well. But just know that if you are going to retire and you're going to drop part of your sick days and also your pension will be put into a separate account for you called a 401A. And again, we'll more than happy to talk to you about that. But this is the lion's share of what you, as an employee of the districts, are going to make. You've got part-time work. Some people just go to work just to keep themselves busy. Plenty of people go back and substitute teach part-time 1 day a week. It's amazing that once you leave the district, you kind of get accustomed, and most of you have been 20, 30 years. You know all these folks at the district. It's kind of nice to quit, basically. What retirement is you're really quitting. But also go back and see everybody. You probably want to do that for a year or two, but you'll get burned out from just doing that. But it does alleviate that stress, because it is a lot of stress for most folks to be going to a job for 20, 30 years, following the same routine, and then all of a sudden one day you don't have to go to work. It's emotionally a lot. And again, you can go out, do sports, but my suggestion is you start planning some things that you want to do when you retire, whether it's the trips or whether or not you want to spend more time. Maybe you're going to sell your house here in Florida and move to another state. All these kind of things you know, look at all these kind of things and start making some plans when you do that. Again, rental income, very few people on the income that teachers and educators are provided doesn't really allow you to go out and buy multiple homes. So although I do see a couple people with multiple homes, by and large, it's hard to afford one house, let alone two. So the rule of 300 is this. And this is kind of the hard and fast rule. Remember, if you're reading up, or you're doing any research on the internet about this, any money you've saved, you can take roughly 4% out to live on. So you say, okay, that you probably have read that, or that probably rings a bell. But if you put it in practical terms, really what it's saying is that you need $300,000 in savings to equal $1,000 a month in retirement. So you and I both know that on educators' salaries, it takes a really long time to put together $300,000. So this is my point: is that $300,000 is the magic number to equal $1,000 a month in retirement. Now, this is just general rule of thumb. This only is looking at if you invest in stocks and bonds and CDs and things like that. There are a couple of other investment opportunities that you can get a little bit higher, but by and large, that's kind of the number. I don't mean to be a wet blanket on anyone's parade, but this is the number. And so, as you know, you're coming down the home stretch. It's hard to put a quick $300,000 under the mattress. Um, Anyway, this is the number one thing you have to look out for, and that's inflation. All right. Number two is bad market. Bad market, continuous bad market. Whether you think Trump is the end all be all or whether you think he's the devil, doesn't really matter. The market's going to do what the market's going to do. Presidents don't have that much say in how the market reacts. Um, Even though whatever side of the aisle you're on, you think it does. But this is the number one thing. So what happens is that over time, and you've seen it in the papers, you've seen it on the news, you are getting inundated with this name of inflation. And really think of inflation this way. And this is how you can think about it. The cost of meat 5 years ago, let's say was $5 a pound. Now the cost of hamburger, we'll just use hamburger as a quick example. The cost of hamburger is probably about $7.50 a pound. So unless your income has gone up by 50%, which it hasn't gone up by 50%, I'm just saying that unless it has, your standard of living has come down. So think of this. The state of Florida is a great example for insurance. The cost of insuring your home for most people now has gone up by about 30%. Did you get a 30% pay increase just to keep pace with inflation when it came to your insurance? Well, some of you may have, but most of you have not. So this is the issue, and I'm having a lot of folks right now, current, you know, retirees that have got condos, and condos are especially vulnerable to this right now because of the HOAs and the insurance. But think of it this way. I've got quite a few that are coming to me saying, my HOA used to be $500 a month. Now it is $1,700 a month. Because what's happening is that, especially in the condos, and some HOAs outside of the condos on the coastal areas, this is happening too, but it's exaggerated here on the coastal areas, is that they've had to take out loans in order to meet the cash reserve in case any major repairs have to happen. So if you're living by the coast and you're HOA and you're retired and you're getting, say, $7,000 a month in retirement between your Social Security and your investment plan and or pension plan, if all of a sudden you're paying $1,000 more a month, how are you getting those increases? You're simply not. So what's happening is that it's kind of hit a lot of the clients in the pocketbook, um, and they're evaluating whether or not they can stay here because they really, if it's going to continue to increase or to continue to stay the same, they are moving into North Carolina, Georgia, South Carolina, we're Tennessee. I am starting to see some of my clients come to me and say, hey, you know what? It's getting too expensive here. Which, by the way, South Florida used to be the land of where everybody came when they retired. And now people are still coming here, but the amount of money that you need to move here and live comfortably has gone up quite a bit. All right. And that's kind of the end result is that you need to take a firm and a really good look at what your expenses are coming into retirement. Again, most of you are in the home stretch, a couple of years left. Some of you are this year. And we really need to evaluate, if not with me, sit down with somebody and take a good hard look at that to make sure that you have enough in savings. All right. Or you may potentially have to work another year. The other part of making sure that you have enough is not retiring too early. Now, we have plenty of people that retire at age 55, which you say, geez, 55. But think of this. If you started working as an educator at 25, right out of college, um, 30 years into it, you're 55 years old. So there is a couple of caveats. If you do retire early, you really need to work a part-time job. But I get it. After 30 years, uh, you either love it or you're really getting tired of it and are looking for a change. So I'm with you. But one size does not fit all. So if you're talking to somebody and they're saying, "Oh, well, we can just do this," kind of boilerplate financial plan for you. One size does not fit all, and you need to make sure that it is customized to you. So here's a quick little screenshot of what we do if you come see us as far as Social Security goes, because we want to make sure that not only are we matching up your benefit, but your spouse's benefit. If you're a widow or widower, we want to make sure we're getting the most out of that benefit as well. Uh, the government has gone away with the windfall elimination provisions, and that's for federal, but um, we want to coordinate that benefit. If this is a benefit you're going to get the rest of your life, we've been able to get 20, 30% more for folks by coordinating the benefit and knowing exactly when to start the benefit. All right. This is one thing that you need to get right because there are no do-overs when it comes to Social Security. So you want to have a good game plan put together for yourself. All right. Again, Social Security, and this is as of 2024. There are 68 million people taking money out of Social Security. 3 million more now are going to start because, again, they just started that windfall elimination provision. You may have heard about it in the news. They just announced that here a week or two ago. So that's big. 3 million more. By the way, if you're not adding any money to Social Security and you add 3 more million people taking money out, does that help Social Security or does that hurt Social Security? Hopefully, I hope you picked hurt because as of right now, 2032, it's going to be bankrupt. Adding 3 more million people to it is just going to bankrupt it quicker. All right. So again, we want to make sure we're maximizing your benefit. Make sure you're working with somebody that knows Social Security because you're going to want to get that right. All right. And this is the total, the average that people are taking out is $1,783. All right, so a couple of things about healthcare. How are we doing on time? All right, so we got about 5 more minutes, and then I will wrap this up. If you've been to one of our workshops before, you know that I just try to give you enough to give you broad information. You can come to one of our other workshops that are going to be more detailed. Today is just a general workshop on 2025 and some of the changes. Healthcare here, though, for all of you, you are going to get a health insurance subsidy. You must be 62 to collect. So remember, I talked a little bit about you could retire at age 55. That's all fine and good. You can retire at age 55. By the way, you can still take money out of your 403(b) at age 55. Some people think they've got to be 59 and a half or 60 before that happens. That's not the case. Also, for those of you that don't need to take money out, it is age 73 right now for required minimum distributions. All right, that's when the government forces you to take money out. If you don't need that, you can wait to age 74, 73 to start taking money out. And health insurance subsidy. Let me jump back to this one. So you are right now, they increased it. It used to be $5 a month. Now it's $7.50. So for every year that you worked in FRS, you get $5 a month to help offset your health insurance subsidy. That's really what it's designed for. You just get that added to your paycheck or you get sent that check, and you can use it to buy bubble gum for all they care. But it is designed to help offset your health insurance subsidy. They don't track where the money goes. Um, and it's a maximum of $225 a month. All right. So if you work 20 years for the district, you got 20 years time in service, you multiply that by 750 and you'll get $150 a month added to your pension check and or flat out check, but you have to be 62 in order to collect it. All right. Some people get confused and think they can retire at 55 and start collecting this money. You can't. You have to wait until you're age 62. All right. Keep existing insurance. You can, if you retire before age 65, right? 65 is the magic number when Medicare kicks in. You can keep your existing insurance up until you hit age 65. There are ways to also cover your dependents. I won't get into that in this presentation, but you can keep your insurance. COBRA does not apply to you, and COBRA is for individuals that are working in private industry. You work for the state essentially. So COBRA doesn't apply to you, so you could continue to get this 5, 6 years. All right. So that's a big concern. I hear that question a lot, but no, you do not lose your healthcare coverage. You can continue to get it. You will not, however, get the health insurance subsidy until you hit age 62. All right. Um, Here in Palm Beach County, which is where I live, the United Healthcare is the insurance as of now. Sometimes they change. Cigna, in your district, it might be a little different, but it's about $650 for an individual to get healthcare coverage up until age 65. And for the family plan, it's about $1,300. Now, this is the single biggest cost outside of home ownership and cars and all that kind of stuff. This is the single biggest cost, but the good thing is we know how much it's going to be. All right. So we know that the minimum or the max really is going to be about $650 a month if you are single, and it's going to be about $1,300 a month if you are on a family plan or covering a family member. All right. So when you turn 65, obviously you get Medicare. I do have a complete Medicare workshop that for those of you who are interested, if you go to our YouTube page, I have a Medicare just set up specifically for FRS members. You can take a look at that. And what do you miss by retiring early? All right. This is one of the biggest questions we get. You're thinking, geez, I'm going to do the rest of the 6 months. Will I work another year? Will I not? Will I do drop, extend drop? How's it going to work for you? Um, what do you miss out if you decide to retire 1 year? So you do miss out on the 1 year of the pension plan. But keep in mind, if you're on the pension plan, instead of the money going into a pension account for you, the drop account essentially, that money is going to be paid to you. So you're not really missing out on that. What you're missing out on is 1 year's worth of salary. So uh, when you, again, look at doing your retirement, it all is really budget dependent, but you're really missing out on 1 year's of salary because your pension is going to get paid to you, whether it's directly now or whether it's been put into your drop account. All right, and 1 year of the investment plan, you're missing out on that roughly 15%, 13, 14% that's being put in the investment plan for you. You are missing out on that. And you're also missing out on 1 year's of growth, assuming that the money does grow when you're in the investment plan. Remember, if you're in the investment plan, you're invested, but there's no guarantee that you're going to get growth. If you are on the pension plan or in drop, there are guarantees of growth. They're not very much, but you do get some guarantees. So if you do retire a year early, you're out about $100 a month in your pension. So I have a full presentation just on the numbers. If you are a math teacher, you'll love it because I get into the math of showing you exactly what it is to the penny. Again, feel free to pull that up. A lot of the emails I send out, it'll be the bottom section. It'll just say, can I retire early? It's a quick little 10-minute, but it does the math for you. But by and large, it is $100 a month. So if you retire at 28 years and you say, how much am I missing out by not working to the 29th year? It is roughly $100 a month in your pension account. Okay. So if you're getting $2,600 a month in your pension, you would get 25. So that's a general rule of thumb. It isn't exact, but it is pretty darn close. All right. you miss out on about $7,500 on your investment account. And really, that's the money that the district or the Florida Retirement Services adds to your account. So you're missing out on the 7,500. Um, and drop again, you're missing out on 1 year retirement, and you're paying for your medical unless you are age 65. So again, that's the biggest part though, is that medical. That medical really, really, it's quite a bit. If your pension, say, is $3,000 a month, and you're married and you're covering your spouse, and now all of a sudden you have to pay $1,500 a month to cover you for medical, you know, that's almost half of your pension going to pay for medical. It's a lot. It's a lot, right? So that's why I say make sure you sit down and do these numbers before you figure out, exactly when you want to retire. You may decide to work 1 extra year, and I know it's not the easiest decision to work another year. I get tons of people that say, "Hey, look, we did it. I'm going to retire in 3 years." I get a call. I got a call from a lady this year. She goes, "You know what? I can't take it no more. I need out." So she jumped out and retired 3 years early, by the way. She was on the investment plan. So really, we don't want you to make this mistake, and it could happen. Please talk to somebody that can help direct you on the investment plan, um, and figure out how much income you're going to need. Again, this is a snapshot or a picture of what we give folks that come see us. It is complimentary. If you do want to see us, you may or may not have attended a number of these different workshops that we do. There are some tax planning strategies that we also will work with you and try to figure out whether or not it makes sense. Sometimes you'll want to do some tax planning. It really depends on how much money you have set aside in 403(b)s and IRAs and things like that. But all I can say is, by general rule of thumb, if you have more than $250,000 in your 403(b)s, your tax shelter annuities, things like that, we will do an analysis on that, because sometimes it can save you quite a bit of money. Um, and Social Security, we also will help you with that. All right, so I know I've gone about 5 minutes longer than I want, but again, it's just take a step back and try to plan this out. I know we just got back into school, back in the swing of things, but if you can, just take an hour, try to set aside an hour. If you want to talk to us, you will get an email that has our calendar on it. Feel free to talk to us. Again, well, the biggest part here is coordinating your pension amount and your Social Security to make sure, and we try to do the best to make sure that you are going to have lifetime income. That is the biggest concern. And again, we offer let me go ahead here because I know we're running out of time. Um, well, this is what we offer, is that we offer a Social Security analysis, the income planning guide, and Roth conversion. Roth conversion is what I talked about, is if you had more than $250,000 or more. Sometimes it's better to do a little tax planning with that, um, and make sure that you're paying the least amount in taxes as possible. All right, so again, everybody is going to get this email, or you're going to get this link and in an email. And if you want, we can try to take a call or two. I can't extend it up till 5 o'clock. Let's look at the Q&A. All right. So looks like we had a couple of questions. First question is, when you retire, um, how much is the Bencor account? Okay, so when you're looking at Bencor, the Bencor amount is the amount that you've saved in your um, that you have in your sick days and also in your vacation days. So those do get converted into your account, and that's about it. So Again, thank you for everybody for joining on the workshop today. We do make this rebroadcast available to you, so we will send that out to everybody who signed up for the webinar. We do record these and we keep them up for a couple of days. I don't keep them up for too long because when things change, that's why I try to make sure we timestamp these. And again, it's January of 2025. And that helps you out. So again, appreciate everybody on the call. You are going to get the rebroadcast link for this. And next week or the week after, we are going to have an attorney on here talk about estate planning. You'll want to register for that as soon as it comes out. We only have 100 seats available. That one generally fills up pretty quick. So we will notify everybody. But again, if you can't attend live, remember you can always sign up for our workshops because you'll get the rebroadcast afterwards. So that's a little trick that some folks know that they sign up and then they watch them later in the week. But just so you know, but that one will definitely be booked out. The estate planning attorney talking to everybody really helps everybody that's in the FRS system. And it's designed specifically for folks that are in the FRS. So once again, thank you for everybody for attending. If we didn't get to your question, I apologize. Feel free to shoot me an email. And again, you can log in and set up a time on our calendar. We're more than happy to give you an hour of our time to, again, review your Social Security, your pension, your income, 403Bs, Bencor, and just sort of get a game plan for you. So again, thank you for attending. I know that the beginning of the year, everything's a little hectic, but we will get back to everybody as soon as we can. Thanks again, and I'll talk to you soon.